We all love alternate universes, but when looking at them more objectively, we have to realize that some are good, some are bad, and some are holy shnikey. Welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab, and the first episode of Alternate Universe What If? In today's video, we are going to be talking about My Hero Academia and one of the biggest fan-made alternate universes, Evil Deku, or Villain Deku. Both actually work. The simple fact of the matter is that this is a common thing. A lot of people will actually make these designs and artworks of what if these villains were evil. But today we're going to be looking at what if Deku did actually turn evil. And we're actually going to start from the very beginning and go to the current spot in the manga, or at least what would have gotten to that point if things had played out this way. So let's actually begin. How exactly would Deku have turned evil? Well, it all starts at the beginning, when Deku is asking All Might if he can be a hero too without a quirk. To this, All Might responds, "I don't know. I don't think so." Unfortunately, he then realizes that he's missing the sludge villain and jumps off to go get it. Deku is sad, starts looking over the edge of the building, starting to wonder if maybe Bakugo was right, and is about to jump when suddenly he feels a hand on his shoulder. He turns around to see a misty-faced person, Kurogiri. Kurogiri says to him, "You've been let down by your heroes, and the world has dealt you a bad card. Why not join us instead? We'll give you a quirk." And Deku, desperate to have a quirk, accepts. At which point he meets All for One, where he is told straight off the bat all that was going on with All Might, and the fact that All Might happens to be someone who has a quirk that can be passed on. A quirk that has been used for many years to fight him, All for One. He can give Deku a quirk, but he has to serve him. Deku, pissed at the fact that All Might didn't give him a quirk because of the fact that just out of jealousy, he is pissed and instantly joins the League of Villains. Obviously, his mother is wondering where Deku has been. He goes missing. And as he's joined the League of Villains now, he is gaining power from All for One. The test finally arrives for students to go in and join Class 1A. Honest, or Class 1B, or basically any of the classes. And honestly, I am pretty sure that that whole situation will play out pretty similarly, leaving only one spot to be filled between both classes. And honestly, I think that the spot will be filled by Shinso. I know that he's not necessarily the number one person who would be really good in that situation, but I honestly think that if they were to actually make this into a manga or an anime, they would choose Shinso as basically because of the fact that he is one of the main characters now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he actually does join the class. Whether it's A or B doesn't really matter, but and if he goes to B, then one of the students from class B actually gets moved up to A. I'm kind of actually thinking that it might have been Kendo, but I'm not 100% certain. The details don't really matter too much. The class goes normally. Lots of just everything stays pretty much the same, going through everything up until the USJ attack. Obviously, these kids are not ready for this situation, but they go to the USJ, and All Might doesn't arrive as early, just like he didn't before with Deku, during Deku's timeline. But the League of Villains appears, and everyone is scared. But then, out of the shadow, alongside Shigaraki and Kurogiri and the Nomu, comes a young boy, dark green hair, and eyes turned red. Pissed. He looks up at the students and gets more pissed. The students look down on him, none of them recognizing him, save for one, Bakugo. He realizes instantly what has happened. Bakugo realizes that Deku has joined people wanting to destroy the world. People who are evil. And it affects his mind greatly. During the next few fights, it's dangerous, and almost no one gets out. All Might eventually arrives along with the other teachers, but the students are hurt a lot more. All of them survived, but almost all of them have to go to see Recovery Girl. And All Might and Bakugo were the ones who fought against Shigaraki and Deku. Bakugo calls out to Deku, calling him by his actual name, Midoriya. But Midoriya looks at him and says, "I'm not Midoriya, nor am I Deku. I am Hero." A name to take a jab at the heroes, to show that he hates them. And he fights back with his new quirks. Bakugo fights him, trying to save him, trying to stop him from doing whatever he's become. He's ashamed at what he's said to him for all those years. Not as much as he probably should be, but something is off. Eventually, they stop him. And with the villains showing up, or the heroes showing up, Kurogiri brings Shigaraki and Deku, or now Hero, back, and things continue to play out. Everyone's injured, like I said, and they go into strong training, continuing to try and get better. But is it enough? No one knows. Eventually, the sports festival comes around. The villains are watching it, just paying attention, trying to see what is going to happen. The villains watch as each match happens. I'm honestly thinking that Bakugo gets second place in this battle, with Todoroki getting first place using only his ice powers. Since he was never told by Deku that the fire within him is his own quirk, he never breaks through and will continue to use only his ice powers. But Bakugo is upset. He's distracted. His friend, the person that he thought was, that he bullied for many years, has turned evil. He once thought of him as a friend, and now he bullied him. He's ashamed. Eventually, All Might notices and says, "What's wrong?" The two talk it out, and they both realize that it is partially each of theirs fault. To which All Might decides, we can save him. He tells Kacchan, we can save him. We can do what we can, but I am growing weaker, at which point he reveals his injury. I can pass my quirk on to you, so you can save your friend. And Bakugo accepts. Training hard and becoming someone that almost becomes like Deku in the original, but not quite. Due to the fact that the sports festival didn't go exactly as planned, the only person who goes to the same work study, probably, well, two people don't go to the same work study they went to before, them being Bakugo and Todoroki. Didn't go there. Instead, they go to other places. The exact location doesn't quite matter, but they go to different locations. But no one goes to Gran Torino. And no one knows about Ida going to Hosu because he lost his brother, or his brother is injured. Ida goes to Hosu, eventually fights Stain. The whole Stain situation is different, as Stain finds out why Deku isn't actually a hero, why he became a villain. And he's unsure of himself as well, but he wants to continue to do what he was doing. But he said that he would join on the condition that he gets to know more about the one boy. The Hosu incident occurs. Nomu's breaking out, and afterwards villains coming. But in the aftermath, they find two heroes dead in an alleyway, stabbed to death. Native and the young hero hopeful, Tenya Ida. Ida's family is devastated. They tried to warn him, but he's gone now, and there's nothing they can do. Class 1A and Class 1B find out about this and are devastated that no one had noticed what was going on with him. Class 1A has now lost their representative. I honestly still believe that he would have become the representative. But they've lost him now. What are they to do? To try and help out, UA implements the on-campus situation to keep all of the students on campus to make sure that they're safe and to build up hero agencies asking for more heroes to come around UA and other schools around the world to make sure that nothing like this happens again. It is devastating to all these people. Eventually, after lots of training, they go to get their licenses. Bakugo probably has gained a lot more power in his quirk by this point, probably escalating faster than Deku has. But they never go to their training camp. If anything, they have it on campus to train all of these students together, to work hard together to make sure that they succeed. It's hard work. But because they can't they can't move around because it's too dangerous, they train. Eventually, loads and loads of villains start joining the League of Villains. Like I said, the Hosu incident brings in tons of villains. All of the villains that were inspired by Stain are coming over to the League of Villains. Deku is becoming more and more powerful alongside Shigaraki. The two are becoming very close friends with more power than you can imagine. Eventually bringing in other villains. Villains that we are still waiting on, such as Gentle Criminal joining, as well as the stuff currently going on in the manga. All those characters join the League, and many, many more. The Giant, he joins. And All For One is now leading. Shigaraki is his right-hand man, and Deku is his left, with the Doctor standing in the background. These four, are the founding, the ones who control this league. And the villains are growing. Heroes aren't able to hold them back much more. More and more are dying off. Eventually, when all of Class 1A and B most likely get their licenses, they are asked to help out, to fight against the villains. Eventually, Dabi reveals himself to be Endeavor's son who went missing. Shocked by this news, Todoroki is unsure, but he wants to be with his brother and his sister and other brother, who are also considering it. The three of them join the League of Villains. Toru Hugakure, who I believe could be the villain, who has been the traitor, also joins. Or she is killed. The same goes for Shoji. Brought into the League or killed. As for the muscles, like Sato and Ojiro, killed off. They're not important. And many, many more are just killed off, one after another. Momo, whether or not she lives or dies is a good question. Whether she joins the League or not, it's unknown. She was never affected by Todoroki, who was never affected by Deku. I honestly think that Sue would also die. Uraraka? Quite possibly. I think it would end with only a few members of the students being alive. Shinso Bakugo, Kirishima, Mina, Sero, Kaminari, and Jiro are the last defense for Class A. And Mirio also decides to help along with the big three. They go and help out to fight, and the fight is brutal. Many more heroes are dying off to the side here and there. Bakugo is fighting his friend, trying to stop him from doing what he's doing to save his soul. He's capturing him with Black Whip. He's floating in the air to avoid the attacks, blasting his explosions, sending punches, spraying him with water, shooting lightning, just barely grazing him to avoid hurting his friend, and he's yelling, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I just want you back." Deku doesn't hear him. Todoroki and his family are also fighting, not being asked to come back by Aizawa or the other teachers, begging them. Endeavor is begging them, saying he's sorry for all that he's done. Hawks has already joined the League of Villains and is on their side. People are begging them. All these people that have turned against them, please come back to us. But it doesn't work. Eventually, every last hero dies, leaving the League to be victorious. Bakugo is hurting. He's dying. He sees a little girl in the League. Someone who is scared of both sides. She wants help. She has a little horn. And he says, as he plucks out a hair, he hands it to her and says, "Carry on our legacy, please." And she eats it, becoming the next successor to One for All, Eri. She's gonna live in a world ruled by villains, but she grows stronger, gaining the powers little by little, building up her strength. But she does it in secret. She's being destroyed and recreated multiple times, but her power keeps growing and growing. Eventually, All for One passes all of his quirks onto Deku, giving him immense power and wanting him to be his successor. But he wants Shigaraki to help him, so he gives him a little bit of quirk as well, a few more quirks. The two of them will be his successors. And All for One gives up his life. He's lived long enough, he thinks. So he's leaving it to his successors. Little Eri eventually grows up, remembering all of those heroes from long ago, seeing the world in terror. She takes a stand against the two big ones and fights back. Black Whip, explosion, super strength, all of them helping her to finally defeat Deku and Shigaraki. She takes the time from then on to fight back against the villains, defeating one after another, and she restores peace to the world. But it was a hard-won peace. that took many years, but she has won. That is how this story would end. But that's just my theory, so I'm curious to know what you think. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you agree with me that this is a holy shnikey situation? Of course, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Subscribe if you're new, and ring that notification bell. Leave your comments and theories down in the comments below. And if you want to support the channel more, then definitely head down to the description and check out all of the links down there. But anyways, guys, I have been Electro Ninja. This has been Alternate Universes What If, and I will see you guys next time. Badon.